everyone, it's Charlie. It's the 5th of June, Saturday. I want to go over the economic data that came out yesterday that our president claims is proving that the economy is getting better day by day. I'll attach a news story where that's exactly what he said. You know, the ramp up of rhetoric and the blatant lies by not only the so-called representatives we have in Washington, but the mainstream media, it is at a fevered pitch. I mean, we absolutely are being led down a primrose path to breakdown, and it is closer now than at any point that I've been making videos anyway. And the handwriting is all over the place. All you got to do is open your eyes and see it. You know, but as situation deteriorates, so will the attempts by Washington and Wall Street and the culpable mainstream media to have you stick your head in the sand and pretend that everything's getting better. You know, the only problem is, depending where you try to stick your head in the sand, you might get arrested because the corporate powers that be in Florida, for example, if you try to film what's happening on the beaches down there, you're going to get arrested. But our president, visiting there yesterday, still has the audacity, I'll use that word because it's in the title of his book, Audacity of Hope, to tell you that the economy is getting better day by day. 431,000 jobs, he claims, were created in the month of May. That's the most in a decade. Now, I don't know if you would have to be literally living in a cave or under a rock to believe that, but I, for one, certainly don't, and I would be willing to bet you don't as well. But let's break down the numbers. 431,000 jobs created in May. Of those, 411,000 are outright government jobs, census and or otherwise. 431,000 of the 411,000 of the 431,000, you can, not only are they worse than creating no jobs, they're actually a draw on the economy because they're not producing anything. They're going around counting people or whatever they're doing, digging a hole and filling it back in. And the mainstream media will be the first to tell you that that's the most important thing, is to get the money out there in the system. They're Keynesians. They believe that the government can borrow money, print it out of thin air, put it in the economy, and fix things. And they have a track record of success if you look at the last 2 years. You know, total economic collapse occurred. They have put in trillions of dollars to stabilize the world financial markets. But everybody who saw the crisis coming in the first place are saying the same things now. It cannot last, and it isn't going to last. So as it fails, as it continues to ramp up, we're going to see an acceleration of the rhetoric, an acceleration of the propaganda. In fact, yesterday, in listening to some economic data on the radio, I heard a mainstream CNN reporter explain why the stock market was down 300 points at the close. Now, he didn't allude to the fact that you know, there's a virtual conflict going on, a hot war going on right now between North and South Korea that could inflate into World War III at any moment. He didn't allude to the fact that, you know, Israel is shooting people on relief boats, and that could flash into a war at any point. He didn't allude to the fact that BP claims to have 90% of the oil under containment, yet mysteriously their cameras are off. These don't cause jitters on the market. No, what caused the market to close down yesterday was, well, it's summer, and it's Friday. And on the weekends in the summer, investors like to pull their money out of the market. They don't like to leave it in there over the weekend. What a bunch of rubbish these people are trying to perpetrate onto you. It's an outright attempt to get you, like I said earlier, to bury your head in the sand and pretend that everything is okay while the world is burning around you. I want to get a little bit back more into this number. 431,000, 411,000 are government jobs. 31,000 jobs that were created were part-time service industry jobs, and 215,000 jobs were added by the use of the birth-death model. If you tally all this together, we end up with a net loss in May of 266,000 jobs. And please keep in mind, last year, 2009, at the end of the year, the government had to subtract nearly 1 million people out of the workforce to account to balance the birth-death model. So you're being lied to. You're being told everything's getting better. Meanwhile, the world is imploding around you. But bury your head in the sand and don't prepare for what's coming, because Big Brother is in control and they know best. They know what to do to handle the problems. And if there's any illustration of how impotent this administration is, or how not in control they are of current situation, look at the Gulf of Mexico. 47, 48 days, spewing oil nonstop into our oceans. And what have they done? Gimmick after gimmick, trick after trick, failure after failure. We have lip service being paid to by the Homeland Security Czar, Janet Napolitano, telling us that all hands were on deck from day one. We have the president making his third visit to the Gulf, and before he goes down there, preceding his visit, 400 BP workers show up to clean up the beach. The problems are not going to be fixed by a bunch of lying, scheming, criminal-minded politicians going on the television and telling you things are going to be better. The problem is going to be fixed when this oligarch-run economic nightmare comes to an end. When we truly do have a collapse, when this country, the United States, can return back to a republic, a constitutional republic, and the power to create money and determine the value thereof is placed back in the hands of the people that our founding fathers meant it to be, Congress, then we can start dealing with true financial growth in this country. Meanwhile, we're just going to be fed a pack of lies week in, week out, until the cliff is there and we fall off of it, and then nobody will be able to smooth over. Nobody will be able to give a slick speech and make you believe everything is going to be better, because we're all going to go down together. The information about the employment report is attached to this video, but for now, that's all I got.